Hi, everybody. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. If you can hear me, just type in the chat section that you can hear me. Hey, yes, all right. So good morning, everybody. Happy International Women's Day. It's nice to have everyone on the call this morning. I'm seeing a lot of good mornings, good mornings, good mornings. So let me see how many people we have in the meeting. Okay, so I see we have quite a number of people this morning. Good morning. I am fine. Thank you for asking. How are you too? So we'll be starting the session very soon. Some of our speakers are already on the call. So, sorry, we'll be starting this session very soon. Some of our speakers are already on the call. But just before we start, I would like us to get to know each other on the chat section. I also have created a Slido for us to just fill in where we are joining from. So give me a second, let me share my screen on that so you can see. I'll just share the link in the chat section. So if you click on this link using your phone or your system, you see a question there that says, where are you joining in from? Hi, Choma, good morning. It's nice to meet you. So if you click on that link I just sent to the chat, you see a question that asks you, where are you joining in from? So let's just know each other. Where are we joining in from? I'm joining in from Lagos here. So let me share my screen so we can all see the responses. Please, the host, can I share my screen? Hi, host. I want to share my screen. Okay, thank you very much. Yes, thank you for that. Okay, so I'll just share my screen so we can see the responses and know where everybody's joining in from. Okay, share my screen. So let me come over here. And let's see. So let's see where every other person is joining in from. Okay, I think this is a link. So when you click the link, it's going to take you here to say, where are you joining in from? I see a chat. Okay, so for example, you just type in, you're joining in from Lagos. So I'm joining in from Lagos here. All I have to do is Lagos and click send. So I think that's basically all you have to do. And then you see, I already have Lagos on my screen, one person from Lagos. So just like click the link and type in where you're joining in from. Let's know what state everybody's joining in from. I see Love in the chat section. Hi, Love. I see Juliet. I see Amara. So let's just click the link. Let me share the link again to the chat section so you can click the link and tell us where you're joining in from. Okay. So everyone. Okay, so yeah, that's the link. So just click the link and tell us where you're joining in from. Please, if you can see the link, let know. I know I've sent it to the channel. Okay, yes, thank you very much, hosts, for sending that. Okay, I see someone else has joined the poll. Okay, so we have someone from Ilorin. We have a few more people from Lagos. Lagos is winning. Somebody said Nigeria. Where in Nigeria are you joining in from? I see Oshogbo. I see Asaba. The person that said Nigeria, all of us are in Nigeria. Where are you joining in from? They are putting Nigeria. Okay, Ibadan, Abuja. So Lagos is still winning. Lagos is leading so we have more people from Lagos. Oshogbo. Okay, we have people from Oshogbo, Abuja, or other people. Where are you joining in from this morning? Somebody said border. What kind of, where are you? Where are you? Which one is border? You're even laughing. Okay, so I think we have 17 people join the poll. I don't know how many we are on the call. About 39 persons on the call. Let's know where you're joining. Calabar. Wow, that is far. Enugu. So we have more Lagosians on the call this morning. Abuja people, where are you guys? Lagos. Okay, Ibadan is next up on the trail. Okay, I'm seeing someone in the chat. Okay, Canada, that's nice. Ocean State University, Ocean. So the Ocean people are more. We have Lagosians, Ocean guys. We have the Ibadan people, Ilorin. All right, so everybody, it's nice. I see 22 people have joined the poll. It's nice that I see different people from different states, although we have more people from Lagos on the call, but that's fine. It's Lagos. We're proud of Lagos. Yeah, I'm in Lagos. All right, so let's get started with today's session. Before I call on our first guest speaker, I have just one more question for us. So the question is basically, you understand that majority of you on the call are women entrepreneurs. From our boss league forward to understand that you are doing one business or the other, be it fashion design, be it food, confectionaries, every other thing. So we want to understand where your business sector is so that it gives our speakers a kind of perspective to know who is on the call and how they are going to address their topic relating to you. So we already know that we have people from different states. So now let us know what kind of sector you are in. So I'll just turn on the next question that says, what's your business sector? So I think you should see that question up already. So that's the next question on that same link. No need to leave, just so what sector does your business belong to? So I'm sorry if your business sector is not here, you can just put that in the chat. I couldn't capture everybody's business sector, but this was like the majority of the sectors that we had from responses from your registrations, right? This is like a majority of the sectors that we had. So if your sector is not here, I'm not biased. I'm sorry. Just put it in the chat section. I will know what sector you're calling in from. So what sector? My sector belongs to technology. So I'll fill that in. So let's see. We have technology leading 50. Wow, we have more people in technology sector. We have fashion, agriculture, real estate. Okay, we have people in the food sector, nobody in the health sector, nobody in logistics. Okay, yeah, the food is coming up. Nobody in beauty. I know there are a lot of people in the beauty sector, so please, those of us in the beauty sector, represent your business. Okay, I'm seeing manufacturing here, craft and fashion. You can actually, there's fashion here, so you can click fashion. I'm seeing craft and fashion in the charts, fashion and culture, manufacturing. Okay, so manufacturing is one sector I didn't get down on my list. I'm sorry, I'm not partial. I just skipped it. So manufacturing. Okay, so we have 12 people join the call. Let's have 5 more responses and then we can start with the first session that we have for today. Oh, I'm sorry. Somebody said my background is kind of noisy. Okay, so we have fashion and technology. Okay, so we have 15 people that filled this poll out of 44 on the call. Let's do well, ladies. Let's get 20 responses and then we'll start the call in general. All right, so let's get 5 more people. Okay. Technology is still leading. Technology is still leading. Whoa, so we have more people in the tech sector. I'm seeing tech and education, agriculture, manufacturing, and beauty products. Okay, finally, somebody from beauty. Spice blend production, that's nice. I think that should be under the food sector though. Spices and food. Okay, so I think I'm just going to end the poll since we already have 18 people that have responded. So I think we have an idea that we have a majority of tech inclined persons, and we have the fashion people, food sector, agri, beauty, health, real estate. persons. Okay, I'm still seeing some answers in the chat section. So you can just keep introducing yourself in the chat section, and then let's go into the business for today. So welcome to our International Women's Day session today, and it's nice having you all on the session today. Thank you for applying for the Boss Lady course one. We saw your Instagram videos, we saw your registrations, and it's awesome that you're taking initiatives to build businesses as a lady. So just before we start, this event at the Boss Lady is a program that is organized by Emerging Communities Africa in collaboration with Okpolo Global Innovation. So I'm very sure you have seen our Instagram pages, you have commented on that, our post and everything. So just like a brief introduction of what Emerging Communities Africa is, I will do that, and then I will invite Benedicta from Okpolo Global to give us like a brief intro of what Okpolo Global Innovation does. So Emerging Communities Africa is a non-profit organization, right? And we focus on catalyzing technology in emerging communities across Africa. So I know that's like too much jargon. How do we do this? We do this by having different cluster communities. We have communities for ladies, we have communities that are general, that are not gender specific, for people that are learning different skills. And we also organize programs. So just like the Boss Lady program is one of them, to help ladies and to help women entrepreneurs to build their businesses. We organize skill-up trainings to help ladies learn digital skills like web development, content creation, digital marketing, design, etc., etc. We organize things like that. So apart from that, we also have like collaboration activities that we do both internationally and locally. So that's like a little brief of what Emerging Communities Africa does. Most of our programs are virtual, and our office is situated in Akure. Although sometimes we're in Lagos, we're in Abuja, we're in different places, but our head office is situated in Akure. So I think that's a little brief of what Emerging Communities Africa is. So Benedicta, if you're on the call, please give us like a little brief of what Okpolo Global does. Hi, is Benedicta on the call? Let me just check the chat. So I'm going to mute myself.
Dr. Agatha.
Okay. So, okay, Dr. Agatha, if you're on the call, you can just unmute yourself and speak. Let's know about Okpolo Global Innovation.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Oh, okay. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Okay. My name is Agatha Ogbe, and I will be introducing Okpolo Global Innovation to us. So Okpolo Global Innovation is an innovation enabler, incubator and accelerator with a focus on nurturing talent to become global innovators, solution developers, and entrepreneurs. So our vision in achieving what we are is to offer a springboard for innovators to succeed. And in doing that, as our mission, we identify talent and idea and support them as well. So one of the strategies through which we do this is the DICE approach: digital, innovation, skills, and enterprise. And we have three key initiatives to achieve that strategic focus of Okpolo Global Innovation. And this is we have the RISE, which means research, innovation, commercialization, and enterprise. We have talent as a service, and we have hub management as a service. There are several approaches that Okpolo Global is using to achieve this focus. We have hub established in tertiary institution and remote villages. We give startup support, and we also form partnership with researchers. And these Okpolo look entirely on talent, and these talents are not strictly on the male gender side. It tries to bridge the gap between the male and the female. And within our ecosystem, we have startups that are also female, funded by female. One of which I could just mention now is Med HQ. She's from our ecosystem. So this is just an overview of what Okpolo is about. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much, Agatha. That was like a wonderful introduction of what Okpolo does. And I think Okpolo does more with business. So all the ladies on the group try to connect to them on their Instagram, on their social media handles, connect and enjoy the opportunities that they offer, and enjoy putting in there most of your states that you mentioned. So connect with them in the chat section. And so let's get this session started. Going up first, we have our first keynote speaker, Mrs. Olamide Falana. She is the special advisor on gender to the Ondo State Governor. So let me just pull up her profile. Give me a second. Let me pull up her profile for us. Okay. Okay, so I guess you can see my screen now. So Olamide Falana is an energetic woman that holds on to a progressive personal ideology. She's an award winner, having bagged several awards, and a community leader with a passion for development of others. She is currently the special advisor to the Ondo State Governor on gender. And as a politician, she contested the House of Assembly seat in 2015. Again, the governorship elections in 2016, where she was the flag bearer for the Democratic People's Party. She has served in several capacities in the All Progressive Congress since 2019. She was appointed the special advisor on gender to the governor of Ondo State in December 2021. So beyond politics, she has built a career for herself in the development sector as a seasoned development professional with over 10 years of experience in gender programming, community development, youth empowerment, media, and community advocacy at both the local, regional, national, and international levels. So as a gender and community development specialist, she has also consulted for many local and international organizations. She's also a founder of the executive director of Girls to Women Research and Development Center, G2W, one of the leading NGOs in Ondo State that she established in 2009. So apart from all her political and founder and development status, she's a very social person that has hobbies like dancing, traveling to new regions, and meeting people of different minds. She's married and her union is blessed. So let's welcome Mrs. Olamide Falana as she comes up and she speaks to us on the topic of the future is female. So she's speaking to us on the future is female, harnessing the power of digital innovation for women entrepreneurs. So Mrs. Olamide, if you're on the call, please unmute yourself and you have the stage. Hello, Mrs. Olamide, if you're on the call, please unmute yourself. You have the stage to speak. Let me check if she's here.
Okay. Hi, hello everyone. Good morning. I must say that I'm happy to be here today, and happy International Women's Day to all of us. Congratulations to every woman out there, and I really wish all of us to have a very wonderful celebration. Now, before I go on, I want to ask, can you hear me clearly, please? Is my audio clear enough? Is it enough, please? Adriana, am I audible enough? Okay, so you have to permit me doing two things at the same time. Also attending an IWD event for female engineers in Ondo State. So I just had to step into the car to quickly be a part of this e-meeting, while I also join the other program as it is. All right, so today is International Women's Day, and I'm glad that we have the theme for your own group. And of course, every association, every community determines what they want, has choose a theme which is apt for their own community. And that is because Wednesday is one where all of us try to at least speak something and represent something to another person. And that's why I want to congratulate all the entire Okpolo Global. I hope I got it right for this year's commemoration. Congratulations to you and for what you do. Now, looking at a theme which has been which was chosen by your community, which speaks to okay, sorry, having a bit of okay, sorry, I'm trying to, yeah, for looking at the theme which has been selected by your community, it's important for us first to look at the emerging technologies, that is the emerging businesses, as an entrepreneurs. How does this day affect women? How can we also take a cue from that and make it better for each and every one of us? I'll begin by putting a spotlight on the current Nigerian national issue. We are aware of the current financial crunch that Nigeria is going through as a result of the policies of the government. And this is actually it is a challenge, but also not also a challenge, because it's a challenge that also opens up so many opportunities. And as we all know, entrepreneurs are those who bring out opportunities in every sector. They seek opportunities, for wealth. They seek opportunities to make better the life of the next person around them. That is why it's important for us to take a cue from this on the day like this and say, how can we also further harness the power of digital innovation for women entrepreneurs, even as we celebrate this year's International Women's Day. So many people during this national crisis, we have so many people having issues accessing their finances, accessing funds. And part of the problem is the fact that we have a lot of women, a lot of people, individuals who are not captured in the financial technology, do I call it a financial technology gap? Because a lot of people do not have access to mobile apps, do not have access to fin technology and all of that, and a lot of openings for financial technology, a lot of openings, for innovation, a lot of openings for solutions that can help us bring even funds and materials and resources closer to the people. And that is actually an opening where I want to strongly believe that the current Nigerian situation has opened up to women, especially women entrepreneurs, because this is an opening where we need to ensure that we bridge the gap and do better in a place like this. So now when we say harnessing power of digital innovation for women entrepreneurs, how can we harness this power? What are the things we can do towards ensuring that we onboard innovation? And like we all know, innovation rules the world. That is, none of us can do well or can achieve much without innovation. And we're also aware of the gender digital gap that exists. That of Nigeria is such a large one, such a huge digital gap that exists in Nigeria. We are aware of the fact that Nigeria, when it comes to digital innovation, isn't doing so well. And that is because even at a time like this, we still have lots of women who are not captured, in the digital angle. And we also know that Nigeria ranked very low at the last the 2021 Global Gender Gap Report, which is not a good one for the country. But of course, even though it's a challenge that we're ranking low globally when it comes to the global gender gap, but it's also an opening because it shows that we have a lot to do. We have a lot of grounds to cover. We have a lot of people that we can still empower better in terms of access to digital technology, in terms of access to digital information and knowledge, and then also in terms of access, to resources that can help us make our businesses better and help all of us achieve success when it comes to businesses. So for us, towards the theme for the day, first I would say that it's important for us to seek ways of stepping up digital literacy. Digital literacy is very key, especially at a time like this. It's important for us to step it up as much as possible. Digital literacy for me is beyond just knowing how to use your phone and how to use all the apps on the phone. It's about what we are teaching onto our children. It's about how well are they using this technology in terms of building smart society. How well are we using technology towards building smart solutions and towards bringing things closer to towards solving our everyday problems. How well are we using this digital literacy so that even the woman who is there in a village as far back as in a village in Arobo, that's the farthest place I can think of right now, can actually pick up a phone, pick up a app, think of solutions and make use of those solutions to us solving our own everyday problems. So it's important for us to seek ways of scaling up digital literacy as much as possible. Then again, we also have the problem. One of the challenges I see is in the language of our technology. At the moment, we have only few people who are able to translate our technology into language that everybody can understand. A lot of times, one of the barriers that we have to digital literacy is the language of communication. How are we communicating our technology to individuals? How are we stepping it down to them? What are we telling our women? What are we telling our young people? How well are they able to assimilate this information and see the nexus between their lives and the technology that's available around them? So the issue of language barrier is such a huge one that affects so many of us, and one in which I strongly believe that if we're able to work on, if we're able to surmount the challenges, it will lead us into being able to solve some of the gender gap, the digital gap that we have at the moment. Then again, beyond digital literacy and also the language of communication, it's important for us to also push out the right skills. Now, literacy is about everybody knowing. Literacy is about the 1, 2, 3. You can read 1, 2, 3. You can read ABC. That's literacy. But the skills has to do with having the skills to actually, develop solutions. How many young women do we have in the space when it comes to technologies, when it comes to innovation development, when it comes to developing solutions that can, better empower lives and solve problems in the society? It's important for us to encourage more of our young girls to take up careers in technology. Oftentimes, we find that so many of our youth, when they leave the shores of Nigeria and they get to other parts of the country, they then begin to take up other careers in technology because that is where they find a job. Whereas while they are here, they do every other thing but technology. But by the time they move out of the country, they realize that the future is actually technology, and you cannot have any career where technology is seen as unimportant. So it's important for us to begin to encourage more young people to take up careers to take up skills-based skill sets in digital technology. It's important for us to onboard programs that will give skills for girls. Let's see how many of our young girls beyond coding classes can take these coding classes into actually developing solutions. How many of us are willing to also buy these solutions from our young girls and our young people by the time they even develop such solutions and develop such apps? Then beyond this, also it's important for us to also seek funding, greater funding for technology innovations, and I would say that concerns more of the government and policy makers, that is devoting enough resources so that technology innovations can actually be accessible. It is not just about developing solutions. What if people cannot even afford it? What if the cost is so high that it is not affordable and people find it difficult to make use of them because of the cost, that comes with it? We all know that every good thing, requires resources, and technology also costs money. And that's why it's important for us to also push or advocate for greater funding, for technology innovations, greater funding for technology hubs, greater funding for innovative ideas that can actually help us transform our nation and transform the world. Then again, beyond all of this, it's also important for us to, if we are truly going to unless the power of digital innovation for women enterprises. It's important for us also as young women in tech to also, do whatever we need to do to push out this information as much as possible. We need to educate others. We need to, make it, we need to make it we need to make it as easy as possible for others to access and to also make use of whatever solutions that we develop. Now, there are times that we may have grand ideas of innovation or technology, but then the ones that affect people most are the things that solve the basic day-to-day problems. Now, look at what look at the day-to-day problems that has to do with the way we buy and sell in the market, the way our farmers have access to technology in terms of for their businesses, the way farmers are able to connect with their customers and make more profit by boycotting the off-takers. These are things that will help us in bridging some gaps, and linking people. And these are things that we also can ensure that we support others by bringing it down to their own community, bringing it down to their level as much as possible. Then again, it's important for us also keep up communities like this. I like the community where I am now. I can see that there's so many young people, so many, I don't know whether young, sorry, but I know that I can see so many names that seem female and all that. That shows that, yes, we actually have a community where a lot of young people, a lot of women, a lot of ladies and women find a footing, find that bond of sisterhood. So it's important for us to also bond together. When we bond together, it makes it easy for us to also make huge demands and have our demands attended to. Because if we have only one person speaking to making demands from our opinion leaders within the sector, and it's difficult to amplify the voices. But when we have communities like this, like Okpolo community and other communities like across the country, our voices get amplified. When our voices are amplified, we whatever we are saying has much more meaning. We are able to reach out and make demands and have solutions, that we seek. And that is very important because one tree cannot make a forest. And when it comes to areas like this that is still seen as new, it's important for us to have communities bond together and do great things together. Then again, I would also want to say that it's also important for us to also be that voice. Yes, we know that if women basically have nothing stopping them, from attaining their full potentials and using their full power as entrepreneurs, but the challenges that we have. For challenges like funding, challenges like domestic violence, challenges like social misconceptions about gender innovators and all of that, But then when we have people begin to speak to these issues and speak out loud, it makes it, it makes it easy, for even those who are coming behind. So it's important for us to keep on, keep on amplifying our voices towards ensuring that we are able to bring more people on board and resolve the challenges that we have to our own development as female entrepreneurs. Okay, sorry. All right. So again, I will say that the future really is female. Yes, that is very true. And that's why I'm glad that the theme for this session today also is in sync with the global team, which is digital, which has to do with innovation and digital technology. And that is why it's important for me to, that's why at this point I want to commend again every one of us and wish us all Happy International Women's Day. Let us keep doing all we need to do towards preaching this digital messages. Let us keep bonding together. Let's keep amplifying our voices in demanding access to resources towards making our businesses better. And let us keep innovating, because when we do so, we bring out solutions that makes life better and makes funding and makes businesses thrive better through innovation. I want to thank you for having me here. I know I've spent almost all of my time, but I'll say thank you so much for the attention, and I really hope that I can answer some of the questions that may come up as a result, come up from this very short presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ma. Thank you for your time. Thank you for we enjoyed the session. So let's just get into it. If you have questions, please drop your questions in the chat section so we can ask your questions. Just drop your questions. I'll read out your questions for you and we get your questions answered. Please, if you have questions, drop your questions in the chat because I don't think Mrs. Olamide will be available on the call to the end of this whole virtual session. So please drop your questions while she's here so she can answer your questions and then we can move on. So I'll just wait for some 30 seconds. If I don't see any question, I would assume that there's no question from the session and we all had the right understanding of what we needed. Okay, I see Dorcas raising up your hand. So Dorcas, can you type your question in the chat section so we can read out your question? So Rosaline is asking, what are the list of some technology skills that you can advise girls and women to go into in this current digital age?
Okay, thank you. I think it's important for young girls to do better when it comes to learning about financial technology app development. Now, the current financial crisis that we have showed us that if only we had so many fintech innovation, all the issues of naira being unavailable wouldn't even come in. You know, but then we find so many people still finding, being unable to, balance innovation and finances together. And that's why we had so much of crisis. Millions of people standing in front of banks, queuing every day, waiting for ATM. And these are things that fintech innovation can actually help us in resolving. So I believe that if we can take advantage of financial technology innovations, let's come up with have developments in that area. How can we do businesses better? How can we send money even better? How can we even boycott banks, boycott ATMs, and still have access to funding? How can we do things that have even been done faster and better? So I think it's important for our young people to see how they can do better when it comes to development of in the financial technology area. And again, also I strongly believe that we can never learn too much of developing smart solutions. Smart solutions make life easier. They make things easier for all of us. So what if we're able to also learn do quite some coding and app development? These are areas that I know we cannot have it. We do not have enough of at the moment, and we need even much more of people going into such fields for the good of everyone. And I hope I have been able to answer this question.
Okay, I think you have been able. The major thing is let's develop skills that can solve our real life problems that we are facing, especially in this country. Let's have skills that can solve our problems in this country. If we can solve our problems, we will not be going through the hassle that this country is giving us every day. So I think that's the only question we have. So if we don't have any other question, it's safe to say, okay, I'm seeing one question. People, essentially females, perceive technology as something very tedious and we don't really want to go into it. How can we really change the narratives?
Okay, now what we'll do is bring it down to live everyday life situations. Ask these people who see it as being strenuous that how difficult is it to access apps on your phones for different things, connecting people and all of that. When they know how easy it is, then they realize that you can actually sell apps that will bring solutions to millions of people. So it's in letting people see how such things affect them. That will go a long way in encouraging them to take up careers in those areas. So I think people find difficulties where they don't see solutions, where they don't see opportunities. When they see opportunities, difficulties becomes non-existent. When they realize that there are opportunities in a particular area for them, they will look beyond the challenges and want to do whatever they need to do towards assessing the opportunities they are in. So I think we should just, do more, of encouraging, of pushing out the virtues, the positivities in those areas. That will help our young people to see that it is actually not strenuous, but could be money spinners for them in future.
Right. Thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am. I think these are all the questions we have. Abibat, I hope she'll be able to answer your question. So we are taking Chioma's question, which is the last question, so we can move on to the next thing on our agenda. So Chioma is asking, is it possible to bring manufacturing business into technology?
Yes, it's very important. Technology, manufacturing is all about technology. Without technology, there can be no manufacturing. So I strongly believe that, yes, we can bring technology into manufacturing. Whatever we are manufacturing, we need technology for whatever, either to make it easier, to make it smart, to make us better. We need technology for all of this. So I think there's a strong nexus between technology and manufacturing. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So yes, any field you are in, trust me, you can apply technology there. You might not be doing the hard coding, but your business can be tech-enabled through any means.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you for your time. We appreciate your presence here this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Okay, so I think I see a question here.
Okay.
Hello?
Okay.
I think there's a question from Mamarachi, right?
Yes, aside developing skills as a woman, female entrepreneur are usually perceived as emotional beings and not fit. How do we change that narrative?
I would say that, the issue of emotional balance is very important for each and every one of us. Emotional balance is key because without emotional balance, of course, a lot of us may totally have workspace. But I think it's also important for us to build communities that support one another rather than ones that seek out to bring out the next person. A lot of times, young women just need a little bit of encouragement. Somebody to just pat them on the back. Sometimes another person may need maybe just somebody to talk to, somebody to just to give a bit of counseling to, and when this is lacking, it becomes a problem. So I think it's important for us to be that voice for the next woman, be that shoulder for the next woman, be that strong support base for that woman out there. And when we also find solutions, solutions that could also help others, which can also ensure that we push this out so that the other woman can also be equally empowered and do better wherever they find themselves and find solutions to their emotional challenges whenever it occurs. Everyone is emotional, male and female, but when we have support systems around us, it helps us overcome these challenges and helps us do better, as women and as business owners and as even tech developers wherever we find ourselves. So let's just bond together and be that shoulder, that voice to the next woman. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much. I think that's all the questions we have. Thank you for the link you shared, Ebenezer. So I think we can check off the link. Thank you very much for your time. It was lovely having you this morning. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Moving on to the next, we have a panel session. So handling that panel session is Benedicta, I guess, from Okpolo Global will be handling the panel session. So we have 4 panelists on the session. And so just let me pull up the picture for the panelists. Okay, so I think we already have her here. So Benedicta, the floor is yours. You can introduce the panelists and then let's get the panel session started. Thank you.
Hello everyone, good morning. I'm Benedicta Lalade, Resource Associate at Okpolo Global Resources, and I am really excited to be moderating this panel today. about building a successful business, the intersection of funding, branding, and collaboration. We have a limited amount of time to spend together, but my goal is to get you ladies the best possible advice on how to build a successful business. And to do that, I would need you to prepare your questions for our panelists so that you can ask them and they can provide you with more insights at the end of the session. Each of our panelists are here today, and they bring with them unique perspective that will help you better understand what you need and what is required to build a successful business. So I'll be introducing this panelist to us. Can you also my screen, please? Can you see my screen? Okay, so we have on the panel session, we have Tolulope Omalayo Shindero. She's the head legal and compliance at Branch International. She was formerly a senior associate at Udo Udoma and Bello Osage banking and finance team with a focus on fintech, corporate finance, syndicate lending, secure transaction, trade finance, structured finance, and project finance. We also have Dolapo Sanusi Ola, and she is the co-founder and chief executive officer at FinLabs Limited, an agro-fintech company trading as Grow with Nest. She also currently holds the position of CFO with her Economy, a finance company with a mission to build the first female bank in Africa. She's a C-suite management executive with extensive expertise in finance and business strategy. Also, we have Kemi Martins, who is a seasoned brand strategist and leather goods designer. A passion for making a difference in the leather goods industry led her to establish K Aspirin, an award-winning Nigerian leather goods brand recognized for its excellence. Kemi also holds a chief brand officer role at Craftlink, a leather goods manufacturing company. Her experience in brand and development and positioning also led to the creation of a brand development company, Brandosh, where she focuses on helping tech startups and small businesses to develop and position their brands. And finally, we have Adedolapo Akinola. She is a banking and finance, capital markets, and general corporate advisory lawyer with experience in transactions, spanning corporate and project finance, debt reconstructing, syndicate lending, secured transaction, mergers and acquisition, and equity and debt capital raising. She's the vice president of legal at Kuda Microfinance Bank, and she plays a significant role in the Series A and B investment rounds of the bank. Prior to her move to Kuda Microfinance Bank Limited, she was a senior associate of Udo Udoma and Bello Osage, a tier 1 law firm in Nigeria, and actively involved in several notable transactions. We are very excited to have you here as our panelist.
Now, old boy, one by one.
So, to start off, I'd like to ask each of you to briefly share with us the challenges that female entrepreneurship face when they are trying to build a successful business in Nigeria. Kemi, would you like to start off?
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Just 1 second. Or rather, good morning. Okay, please can you take that question again?
I asked if you would like to share with us some of the challenges that women face when they're trying to build a successful business in Nigeria.
Okay, so I'm going to be speaking from a branding perspective. But before I begin, there's a bit of background noise. I don't know if it's coming from you or the audience. Please, can you just help address that so it doesn't distract us?
Yeah.
I think someone is on a call or something. Let's see.
Okay, I don't think it's from.
I don't think it's from you. Okay, all right, no problem. Okay, so I'm going to be speaking from a branding perspective in terms of challenges women face when starting a business. So, would I put it as more of a challenge or more of a thought process? Now, when a woman or a man wants to start a business, the first thing they come up with is, business name, obviously, and I need a logo and I need a color, and I need to open an Instagram page, or I need to build a product, which is all well and good, and I need to put them online, just like that. And that is that is not the right way to go about it, So I think to rephrase or to phrase the answer of what I'm saying to what you asked, I'll put it more as how to literally start, the best way to start a business. Maybe people ask themselves, okay, what's the best way to start or build a brand? I think that is one of the challenges a lot of female and male entrepreneurs face. So now I'll start with this. One of the best way to do it is through your messaging. It's not just about the logo, it's not just about the colors, it's not just about the font or the visuals. It's about, okay, what's that message? What do I want to be known for? And I think once you can answer that, you have the right foot at the door. So I'm going to start with that. So, and if you're able to answer the messaging questions well, you will see that you are going to be able to differentiate yourself properly from competitors. So now the first step is obviously competitive analysis. When you're starting off a brand, it's not just by, okay, looking at other brands out there. Okay, this is what they're doing. No, you need to actually undergo a thorough competitive analysis of each brand, be it direct or indirect. Once you do that, you would actually understand what they're doing and what you're not doing. And from there, you can continue to build upon it. I will dive into this more later, but I want to be sure I've been able to answer the question you put out. Is the host there?
Oh, I'm very sorry. I didn't know I was on mute. I said great insights from you. That was quite helpful. Okay. Thank you very much. So can we have Tolu share experience too? So what are the challenges that you feel like women face when they are trying to build a successful business in Nigeria? Is Tolu here? Okay, so any other panelists would like to share their own insights, please feel free to share your insight on the challenges you feel that women face when they're trying to build a business.
Hi. Okay, can anyone hear me? All right. So I'm actually not sure that Tolu is on this call. I think she communicated that to somebody in your team. On the challenges women face. So my response, right, is going to be from a legal/compliance perspective. Okay. And in my opinion, right, the legal hurdles, right, legal challenges, they are not necessarily attributed strictly to women, but they are issues that should be identified and should be addressed by any business owner. So we're looking at, the initial steps. When you want to set up a business, you have to think about the first, essentially the first regulatory registration requirements applicable to your business, right? That is, one, the incorporation of the company or the business name, whatever form you intend to take at the Corporate Affairs Commission, registration of the trademarks, at the trademarks registry, registration of the entity with the tax authorities, even just something as simple as opening of a corporate bank account, right? And then one factor that I consider to be very important, depending on the nature of the business, is securing the relevant license that is required for you to run that business. So these are the things that an entrepreneur should have in mind when you want to start your business. You need to make sure that you legitimize that business, whether you are a female or a male, right? I do acknowledge that in executing these items, there might be some bureaucratic issues that come into play. But once that entrepreneur is able to appoint a competent legal representative, right, I believe that business would thrive. So that legal representative, whether it is an internal lawyer or an external counsel, would be able to help that company pretty much navigate the hurdles that come with those requirements. Aside from those, incorporation registration requirements, there are also other factors that come into mind to me. So I'm looking at documentation, right, like commercials. So you have to first start with, like, if it's a partnership, do you have your partnership agreement or your founders agreement, right? Are the employees formally engaged, and do they have employment contracts in place? If you are a company that is looking to offer share options, have you communicated that to the employees? Have you set out the terms of those options, right from inception, so that there's no confusion along the way and you don't have a disgruntled employee later telling you that you made some promises at the beginning, which are things that a lot of people, overlook at the beginning stage of setting up a business. So you need to have those documentations in place. Also, with regards to policies and processes. So, there are certain policies that a company is required to have in place based from regulatory requirements, as in the sector that you work in, but also just general requirements, as in having like a company handbook. So these are things that are very important and must be in place, whether the entrepreneur is, whatever gender. So those are the things that we need to consider, yes. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for your advice. Thank you very much. Kemi, you spoke initially that when starting a business, one of the factors to consider is the messaging and how you create your brand online. Can you please give some advice on how businesses can match their online brand presence with their physical presence when they're starting up a business? How do you think they can match their brand presence to their physical presence?
Are you sure you didn't mute yourself?
Tell me you're mute. If you can hear me, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
No, I still can't hear you. Still can't hear you.
Can you speak? I assume we should hear you now.
Okay, I
Yeah.
think I can hear you now. Perfect.
Alright.
Okay, I don't know what happened there. Okay, please, you can ask a question.
Okay, while you were answering the previous question, you
Yes.
spoke about branding and how business owners can communicate their brand through messaging, their prints, pictures, and stuff like that. So can you give further advice on how businesses can how businesses can match their online presence with their physical presence, with their physical brand presence?
Okay, so this is dependent on obviously the type of business you run. If you're in startup or rather tech industry or fashion, because earlier I saw a lot of people mention fashion, manufacturing, tech. So it depends on it depends on your field of industry. But anyways, we are all familiar with the online, basically how to build a brand online. To match it up with digital, or rather to match it up with physical, let me use a typical brand industry. Let's use the fintech industry, for instance. Now, because most fintech industries now are usually maybe 80% remote with the branch office. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, with a branch office somewhere located somewhere, obviously physically for more of operations as opposed to seeing clients or consumers. Now, for them to grow a physical presence, you might need to do activations in events, still taking into account fintech. Okay, ask yourself this question: where are my target audience? What type of events do they attend? Where do they list? Where do they work? Where do they have leisure? It can even be Koi Club, it can be anywhere, just basically where your target audience is. Based on that answer, you can say, you know what, let's do a physical activation in that area and give our potential customers a brand experience like no other. So a brand experience meaning, okay, when they see us, this is how we want them to feel. This is how we should speak. This is how we should communicate our product to them. So based on that, one needs to consider multiple brand activations seasonally. It can be one in a year, it can be 2 in a year, it can be strategic events. For instance, TechPoint, they usually do this yearly event. A lot of tech companies like that have events they do yearly, even end of the year events. So you can say, okay, you know what, in a year, I'm going to do, or my company and I, or my team and I are going to do 2 events on the minimum. So from there, you actually talk one-on-one directly to your customers, understand their pain points, and I don't want to use the word market. Tell them why they should choose you. If they already use your product, you can basically ask them, okay, what are your challenges with this particular product? So by the time you are communicating with your target consumers, you can literally feel how they perceive the brand. You can feel their objections. You can feel what they love about you. You can basically have time to go back to the drawing board to say, you know what, based on the result we've gotten here, we need to work on this particular part of our brand, of our experience, of our product. And I think that is how you can basically match up the online presence with the physical presence. The secret is just activations and strategic partnerships. So once you do that yearly, quarterly, monthly, depending on how your budget is, you should be able to balance both online and physical presence for your business. And this applies to all kinds of businesses, be it fashion, be it manufacturing, especially if you're more of a remote company with just operations. You can have fashion fairs, you can have meet and greet, even as little as meet and greet with your consumers. Okay, this event is just for us to hear you, our users, what you have to say, what you feel about us, where we're slacking, what we can do better. Do it more as a heart-to-heart kind of event as opposed to just formal and, so that's basically one of the ways you can go about it for physical presence.
Okay, thank you very much. Great points from you. But before I move on, you mentioned effectively communicating the values of your brand to your consumers and reaching out to them, heart to heart. So can you give further explanation on how you can effectively communicate the values and mission of your business or organization through the branding efforts?
Okay, great. So a lot of businesses just craft out values just for the sake of putting values on their website. I've seen that a lot. I've worked with multiple clients. Oh, okay. Our values are excellent, quality product, fast turnaround time. They just, or rather, team spirit, leadership. Just one words that have been overly used. No, if you have those sort of values, toss them in the bin. The world is changing. The world is evolving. We don't just want slap bang words that we've seen, since the 1800s. I'm exaggerating, I know. But basically, your company values should be the anthem of your company. What you imbibe, what you want your company culture to imbibe, which will transcend internal to external. I don't know if that means. I'm going to give you a practical example. One of the brands my agency is very proud of that we did brand development for. It's called Eels and Tech. I'll tell you more about them later. For their brand values, one of the brand values there is willpower. And what that means is their internal staff should have the willpower to do whatever they want to do, to become whatever they want to do. So it's not just about their consumers alone. And this them having the willpower to do whatever they want to do would obviously transcend externally. And the founder came to me recently and said, Kemi, now I understand how important values are, because my team content team lead, she had the willpower. When I was talking about our values, she took the initiative upon herself to actually do the courses that will give our clients, because they have the opportunity to, Heels and Tech is basically a co-op platform, where people can learn coding skills and transition into tech. So they took the courses internally, and now she's a Salesforce agent, and she didn't say anything. All she did was just communicate the values to her team members. And when she finished her Salesforce training, she posted that on her LinkedIn, her personal LinkedIn page. Can you see what has happened there? You as the company didn't need to communicate your values. Your team members are upholding those values and are communicating it on behalf of your company. And it was unplanned. So that's why it's very important that everything has to be authentic. Once you have real authentic value that can actually transform the lives of your internal team, watch where the magic happens. They would be advocates of your brand, and you can tell the world how your internal values trickle down outside and how they've been able to transform the lives of your internal team. And that is one way to communicate your values. Did you say something about mission or just values?
Yes, their values and mission.
Okay, same thing with mission. So the mission basically is that thing that you do, that thing that the consumer, an average user benefits from your brand. Okay, now, obviously, the mission is meant to be short, not too long. So meaning in everything you do, ask yourself this question. Okay, we've built this product. Does it really communicate our mission in the sense that, okay, for instance, let's use an example. My mission is to close the gender gap. Our mission is to close the gender gap in tech between women and men. Now we are creating this product. Does this product give us the answer to that mission? Does this product really, really close the gender gap, or it's just all bamboos and words on our website? So based on your mission, you can craft storytelling tactics around your mission and values. Oh, okay, you know what? Gender, we want to close the gender gap between men and women. Why? Why is this mission important to us in the first place? What have we noticed? Can you give personal stories of Bola, of Fisayo, of Shelby, of their pain points, before this mission, and how this mission of yours as a company has been able to transform their pain points to success stories? Now, that is storytelling. That is how you can use your mission and values to create different sort of content and even campaigns, to promote your brand and differentiate, and most importantly, differentiate your brand from competitors. Because let's be real, it is competitive out there. You might think that you have the next great idea, but someone is doing something better. So most times, apart from having a great product, your mission, your brand strategy, your values, everything adds to your differentiation strategy as a company. And that is what will position you differently from what others are doing. So that's what I have to say regarding that.
Thank you very much, Kemi. Thank you very much. So Dolapo, while Kemi was speaking about building a brand and trying to communicate values and missions, I'd like to ask, is it important, how important is compliance with legal and regulatory framework while trying to build your brand and your business? Hello, Dolapo. Dolapo, if you're speaking, we can't hear you.
Yes, hold on a second, please. So the relevance of legal and compliance and regulatory compliance, I feel like those are things that cannot be overemphasized. Where you have a legal framework and a regulatory framework, and you understand what these requirements are, like they go to the basis of your business. To have a legitimate business that is operating in line with applicable laws, I think that that is extremely important, because where you fail to meet these applicable laws or regulations, it goes to the continuity of the business essentially, because there are so many exposures and risks that you can be exposed to by reason of non-compliance. For instance, you could get fines from your regulators. And when I say fines, it can even be like, you don't have to be a licensed entity. You can just be a registered entity. So the CAC, there are sanctions for non-compliance, right? Where you fail to comply with the provisions of the Companies and Allied Matters Act. And then depending on your business, you have your sector regulators, right? If you're in the finance space, you have CBN. If you're in the communication space, you have several sector specific regulators, and they have their requirements that need to be met, right? The licenses that need to be obtained, the returns that need to be filed, the reports that need to be submitted, and they have timelines for these submissions. So it is extremely important to make sure that you align with those timelines. So you have your checklist, right, that sets out the requirements. You have your checklist that sets out the timelines for filings and the payments that need to be made. And then you have that checklist should also include the sanctions and the fines that could be attributed to non-compliance. So when you see the gravity or the possible impact on your business where you fail to comply, I think that can be like a trigger for you to do so, right? Apart from the fines and the sanctions, you have, in extreme cases, a suspension of your business, a suspension of your license, or even a revocation completely. Like the regulator can essentially shut down your business for non-compliance. And when your business is shut down by the regulators, it's going to take a lot for you to bring it back up. And if you have investors, I mean, that is like an investor's worst nightmare, where they have put in their funds into a company and the regulators have stated that you cannot operate. It's almost like the money is lost. So compliance is very, very important, even just to attract funding, right? Investors would always conduct a due diligence exercise on your business. And where you fail to meet those requirements, because due diligence exercise would request your, corporate information, your regulatory compliance position, even things that relate to employment, like payment of tax, of pension funds, your contributions to the National Health Fund or National Housing Fund, or all those requirements that apply to any company that has employees. They all have sanctions attached to them, right? And then where you fail to meet those, or where you fail to submit your reports, or even something as simple as holding on having your statutory books. By statutory books, I mean your register of directors, your register of shareholders, your register of charges, your minute books where you hold your meetings, your minute books. So where you don't have those, there are sanctions that come with non-compliance. And where you push out your due diligence checklist to a company as an investor, and what comes back to you is, still being registered, not yet submitted. Last submitted was 2 years ago. All those would turn off an investor, right? And, your perception in the market is very important. It goes to the branding, right? Yes, you can have your beautiful slogans. You can have your, you can seek, if you seek a Kemi's service, and she does the best for you, and that is enough for you to thrive. But you somehow forgot to focus on your regulatory requirements, that would have a grave impact on your business, because where you have all the branding, you look good outside, everyone loves you, but then the CBN sanctions you, and that goes to Tech Cabal, or it goes on CNN or NTA, I don't know. That can literally be the end of it. Even from an international point of view, that would affect your perception from the investor's point of view, as in your current investors and potential investors, the stakeholders in the business, and even your customers, where your customers lose that faith in you. I mean, what will you go on? And even if you are a company that is looking to expand into other jurisdictions, I mean, I'm sure you're aware of several companies that started off in Nigeria and have been able to expand to like other African countries, other countries outside Africa. You'll be surprised that the regulators in those jurisdictions, they liaise with your existing regulator. So if as a bank, you want to set up or establish a business in Ghana, for instance, and maybe you need to get a license from the Bank of Ghana, you'll be surprised that the Bank of Ghana would reach out to the CBN to ask for a letter of good standing. And if the CBN is not able to provide that because you have failed to meet regulatory requirements, then it has essentially stopped your chances, or at least would extend the timeline in which you can reach your goals in that expansion plan. So those are things that need to be considered, and it just shows the gravity and the importance of ensuring that, you know, your compliance position is top notch. I mean, let's be honest, you know, you have startups, a lot of startups that struggle to meet every single requirement. It's understandable. You know, you even have established businesses that overlook certain things. You know, there are just some lapses that you ignore, especially sometimes taxes, right? Even those mini books, as simple as they are, a lot of times, a lot of companies just overlook them. They have the meetings, but they just forget to create the book. What is the gravity of it? What are the sanctions applicable? Some of them are just like a slap on the wrist, and then some of them are like a real whooping. So if you have your position and your investors or your customers, you know, they see that you are compliant mostly, right? But there are certain things that you need to fix. You know, even just in the funding round, right? Your investors would give you the opportunity to fix those lapses, right? So I'm not going to stand here and say that you must be compliant 100%. A lot of businesses are not. A lot of startups don't even, you know, they're just like maybe 50% compliant, but are they willing to get there? And are you working with investors that understand the market and understand your position and have worked with a number of startups and realize that you might not have it all, but once you engage the right people, you can get it all. So it all adds up. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Can I just add something to that?
Okay.
Do you mind?
Yes, please.
Yes,
okay, Dolapo, you made very, very amazing points, honestly. I just wanted to build upon what you've said. Now, so there's this misconstruction that people just think branding is just, all glam, what is outside, what we put. But see, that is wrong. Branding is an ongoing process. It revolves every corner of the company, from financials to legal to back end to tech to customer service, everything. Because guess what? These people, the legal team you're communicating with, be it external or internal, based on what they see in your internal documents, they're forming a perception in their head. They're also human beings. They might as well be your clients too, or maybe not. But guess what? They have friends, they have families, they have colleagues who they can also say, you know what? Oh my God, I just went to that office today. That company, that startup, their papers that's the most seamless company I've worked with, because they had everything, they submitted everything when they were meant to submit. Their compliance is okay, maybe not 100%, but they are doing better than most. Do you see what I'm saying? Branding is the perception people have of you, not just your customers. Everybody, both internal team, both financial consultants, investors. So it is very, very important that whatever you do in-house, ensure that or whatever you do or you're not doing doesn't come back to bite you, like Dolapo said, because guess what? All it takes is just one legal paper and your name is all over the press. I mean, we're all familiar with a lot of startups that have had so many issues in the past with their names everywhere in the press. It just takes one action or inaction. So ignorance is not an excuse. So meaning everything you do, just know that someone is watching, someone is forming opinions about my brand, someone is telling somebody about my company. So ensure that you're always following the good and best practices. So that way you're not just beautiful outside, but you're also remarkable inside. And that is what branding is about. It's both about internal and external. And it's very key everyone takes that at least away from this place today. So that's all. You can continue.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Kemi.
Thank you very much, Kemi. Thank you so much, Dolapo. We learned just now that ignorance is not an excuse. So can you briefly share with us some pitfalls to avoid when trying to ensure compliance, Dolapo?
I mean, what are the pitfalls? Delays, procrastination, you know, you think that, or even trivializing things that ought not to be trivialized, right? Like I said, some things might seem, okay, the sanctions are not much, but trivializing them over time, they add up. So ensure that you do not, you know, forget to file. And even if when you forget to file and you eventually remember to submit it at the CAC, make sure you do it. Take that penalty, pay the fines, but get it done, right? And also avoid taking the easy route. Like the last thing you want is to say that, you know, I mean, we all know that legal advice can be expensive, right? And a lot of times startups think that they do not require legal advice, or they can just ask a friend that is a lawyer. it makes sense to try to do that, but it should get to a point where you need to realize that it is for your benefit, because when there is a problem, the amount you're going to pay to fix that problem will be a lot more than you would have paid, to prevent the problem. So it's very important to have, a legal team, a compliance team in place, and ensure that you do not take the easy route and just try to save money. And also housekeeping. A lot of times, there's some things like the corporate governance of the company, the board composition, like I mentioned, the statutory books, all that, they can easily be overlooked. So you need to, sometimes you might be so focused on product launch, you can be so focused on the tech that you forget that, you don't have the right number of directors, or you don't hold the board meetings where they're meant to be held, those sort of things. So you have to make sure that you have your housekeeping in place. I think I mentioned earlier about your checklist. So it's easy to overlook these things. But if you can ensure that you don't overlook things that should not, legal and regulatory matters should never be overlooked, right? And then cutting costs, don't do that. And also, just housekeeping, ensuring that you have everything in place. So those are the things that I think if you avoid doing, or you focus on doing, you can grow your business and thrive without any worries from being attacked by the regulators.
Thank you very much, Dolapo. Kemi, would you like to add anything to that topic?
In terms of, not really, I think she said it all. Yeah, we can move on to the next question. Yeah.
All right, my next question, Kemi, is you mentioned News and Tech, seems like a brand you worked with recently.
Yes.
So can you share how you measure a successful brand campaign? What are the metrics or KPI that you focus on to measure a successful brand campaign?
Okay, awesome. So it differs. And the first line of action is you need to define what success means to you, first of all. So there are different definitions of success depending on the output or the result you want from a particular campaign. So I'm going to give examples. Now, let's say you're launching a new brand campaign or marketing campaign. You can divide it into maybe Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, or maybe month 1, month 2, month 3, month 4. Now, your result or rather your output for month 1 can be, I want to focus on brand awareness this first month with just maybe a minimum amount of sales because nobody knows us. So let's focus on brand awareness, and you can do an estimate. And for this brand awareness, I want at least 1 million Nigerians, or 1 million, depending on where your target audience is. I want 1 million Nigerians to be able to come across our brand. Maybe not necessarily send us a message, just see us, that impression. So as you can see, month 1 or Q1 is all about brand awareness, maybe impression. So you can measure based on that success metrics that you've defined for your own company. You can use that as a yardstick. So that way, after the end of month 1 or Q1, you would ask yourself, okay, did we meet up to 1 million impressions or 1 million people, yes, see our ad? If not, why? Is it that our budget is too small? Or is it that we didn't run the ads well? Obviously there's going to be a lot of testing before you run your campaigns fully and stuff like that. So that's one way of looking at it. So that's month 1 or Q1. So month 2, now that a lot of 1 million people are aware of our brand, or maybe 800,000 people, how do we have high website visits for Q2 and high sales? So now that you're done with, you're not done with brand awareness per se, but you're not focusing on brand awareness anymore. That is on auto run. Now, for month 2 or Q2, you're focusing on engagement and sales and numbers. So you put your numbers. Okay, for engagement, I want, out of maybe 1 million people that have seen us, I want 20% engagement. You set the metrics down. An engagement can be okay. It can be questions, it can be comments, it can be DMs, it can be normal engagement metrics. And once you have that, you would use your metrics to identify if it's a success based on what you've set out. So that's Q2. Q3. Now, for Q3 or month 3, we want to be able to make back the money. Are we going to be able to make back the money we've used for this brand campaign? you ask yourself that. Maybe that's going to be your yardstick. Then, okay, maybe you put 5 million in, for instance. Have you been able to get maybe 10 or 15 million naira in sales, or have you been able to get back the exact 5 million naira in sales? That is your success metrics. So I don't know if you get what I'm saying. You need to have, based on the goal of your campaign, you would have different success metrics across different timelines. And that will determine if your campaign was a success or not. If it wasn't, based on the metrics you've set out, you need to go back to the drawing board and do it some other way. And bear in mind, this is a quantitative kind of metrics. In branding, we have both qualitative and quantitative, those numbers, and qualitative, that's more of words. Now, let me just go through a bit of qualitative. You can have, for the people that have seen your brand, you can decide to do brand awareness surveys. Okay, these people have seen our brand, at least they claim to see our brand from the results we've seen. I know a lot of people engage influencers to market their products, but do you know that you can also engage the same influencers who talk directly to your target customers to do surveys up for you? You should know what people think about your brand. You should know if your brand is the first thought or first name that comes to their head when they think of a particular pain point. You understand? So imagine maybe because it has to be neutral in whatever surveys you're sending out, you must ensure that your logo isn't there, your branding isn't there, so that way they don't know that you are the one asking the surveys. So you go there, you send them a link, tell the influencers, okay, this is what we want you to do. Send out a link, ask them about financial pain points, depending on what your business is. So if you're in fashion, for instance, you can ask them a question like this. If you need corporate wears, for instance, what is the first brand that comes to your head? If your brand is mentioned in the survey of maybe even as little as 1,000 people, know that you're getting somewhere. If 4 or 5 other brands are being mentioned instead of your brands, know that you still have a lot of work. And then you should know that those are your primary competitors. Can you see how it is more of now data-driven responses? A lot of people or a lot of brands ignore the power of data. We work a lot with assumptions, which is fine. Marketing is assumptions eventually, but it gets to a point after you've done a bit of marketing and campaign that it's very key and integral to the success of your business or startup if you understand what people think about you, if you understand where you are in the mind of the people. And surveys, brand awareness surveys, are another angle you can use. And you can use influencers, the same influencers, the same people that market your product can also send the link out for surveys, and so that's just one way to go about it. Other measure metrics can be social media analytics, like people are aware of, ad impressions, normal one, return on investment, like I've mentioned before. And yeah, based on that, set out your success matrix, what makes your campaign a success in terms of numbers, and that's quantitative, and in terms of verbal response, and that is qualitative. And if you have that, you would know if your brand is doing well or if you need to buckle up in a particular area. So that's what I have to say on that.
Thank you very much. I hope you're learning a thing or two from this panel section. But before we continue, I'd like to welcome Dolapo Sanusi. She's on the call, and she's the Chief Executive Officer of Nest Investments Limited. Welcome, Dolapo.
Hello, everyone. Oh, sorry, I didn't know I didn't want to stop the flow of what you guys were talking about.
All right, welcome. It's good to have you join us. So we've been talking about building a brand, and Kemi has been giving us some insights and advice on how to build a successful brand. Dolapo has also been speaking about legal compliance, how businesses and organizations can comply with legal frameworks. So I would like to ask, while trying to build a brand and also while putting into consideration complying with legal frameworks, what are the resources that are available to women in terms of funding and investment? What resources are available to women that can actually help them in building their brands?
So I'm going to look at it from different angles. And I know when people talk about investment and funding, the first thing that pops up to people's mind is actually money. And to be honest, when it comes to brand building, I always say to a lot of the business owners that I've kind of worked with is, on the one hand, money is good, but on the other hand, money doesn't really help you to build your brand. And with a lot of investors as well, they don't want to give you money to actually build your brand. Does that make sense? So it's more, okay, if I'm giving you money, what are you using the money to do? But then whatever you're doing should help you to begin to build your brand equity. Does that make sense? So brand equity is basically how the market perceives you, and how the market actually perceives your brand. And that brand equity is not really something that comes from having money. It's something that comes from something that is actually bigger than money. Does that make sense? So for example, the quality of the product or the service that you're actually giving. So while you can use money to create your products, does that make sense? But are you using the money to create the quality of products that people would like to kind of buy? And if what you say is what people get. So for instance, I always tell people that one of the biggest things with a lot of people, and we've seen businesses that have gone on to raise fantastic amounts of money, and then tomorrow they don't exist just because something happens, and all of a sudden their brand equity is in the mud. So it is not necessarily about money. It's actually about the quality of the brand that you're building with the money that you're actually giving. And that's why you can find it that even when you look at people like celebrities as well, because a celebrity too has their brand. A celebrity is the brand in itself. Something happens, and all of a sudden their brand is in the gutter. Nobody wants to associate with them anymore. Nobody wants to pay them to influence for them anymore. Or something happens with your products. You hear about product recalls going on, even in places like abroad, where something happens with the product and then they call a product recall and it actually affects their brand. Now, there's some people that when they do a product recall, because they've been in the market for so long and their brand equity is actually really, really strong. Even when they do a product recall, it doesn't affect their brand. But if you're a new business or your brand equity is not that strong and something happens with your product and something happens with your brand, obviously it begins to affect the revenue that you can make with your brand. For some people, it actually kills their brand totally. So anywhere you can get investment, which is obviously for a lot of people, you're either getting investments or you're getting funding from your friends and family, or you're getting a loan from the bank, or you're talking to angel investors. You're talking to angel investors. Angel investors is one of the things that I particularly sign up for, which is if you know, so a story would be like a business I worked with last year set up an orthodontics clinic. He's a doctor. He wanted, and in setting up his clinic, he needed about $500,000 to do the initial setup. And I said to him, I said, come here, you're a doctor. You have spent how many years going to school? 20 odd years going to school, because this is someone that not only trained as a doctor, he has a master's degree, and all of that. So I said, you've gone to school for 20 years with people. These are people that have trusted you. And when it comes to doctors, and he works in America, by the way, and he has a lot of doctor friends that work in the States. I was like, a lot of you have money, a lot of you sit on cash. Why are you trying to raise investment outside when you should really be starting with people that know you? Because they're the people that can actually vouch for you, because they've known you for years. They probably trust, they've gone to school with you. They probably trust you to a certain degree. It's easier for you to actually raise money from them. So we came together and we had a plan. Okay, you need to raise $500,000. Give me 20 names of your friends that can give you maybe $5,000 each or more. Do you understand? And he came up with a list of 50 friends, and we kind of started from there. But because they could trust him as a person, which kind of started, he was able to raise that money within his circle of friends. But we actually gave them investment contracts so that they know that, okay, even though I'm giving my money to my friend, I'm actually entering into a business relationship with my friend. Now, the other side of it, which I said to him, is when you do start out and you say to people, this is the service that you're going to be getting, can you make sure that that is actually the service that people are getting? Because then you're building brand equity, so that the next time when you go back into the market to kind of raise funding, you might not be able to raise from your family and friends, but because you already used that money that was given to you by your family and friends to build a solid reputation in the market, and that has also resulted in increased revenue and in increasing the number of customers that come through your door, it becomes easy to now go to, let's say, an average investor on the street, like a venture capitalist, to actually use that track record to actually raise funding, basically.
Okay, thank you very much, Dolapo. My next question is, how do business owners, how do you prioritize funding opportunities? Like, what factors should they consider when pursuing this funding opportunity?
I think for me, first of all, you have to look at the person that is giving you the money. Do their vision align with your vision? That is number one. And I say this to people all the time. Now, people have gotten into situations where they've raised funding from particular investors and it has ended badly. So a funding relationship is like getting into a marriage relationship or a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, basically. And it's basically, does this person's vision align with my vision? Does this person's fundamental value system align with my value system? So for instance, I remember one time when we were trying to raise money as a company and we had certain people come and give us the money, and straight away they said to us, oh, we're going to be giving you this money. And it was way more than the money that we actually needed at that particular time. But then there was an inclination of they'll be laundering money through the company, which is money laundering. Does that make sense? And for me, money laundering is a no-no for me. That also means that if they ever get caught by EFCC, my business is going to be part of their assets that EFCC is going to be seizing because they actually own part of my company. So for me, that was a no-no. I wasn't going to get into bed with them. So for me, when you're going into the market to also get funding, one of the things you need to understand is this person's fundamental value system. Does it align with my value system? The vision that I have, is this person going where I am going? So for instance, if you're a business that focuses on, let's say, empowering women, right? But then you now have someone that doesn't believe in empowering women and you want that person to give you money. Obviously, straight away, your visions don't align. So it'd be very difficult for that person to kind of understand the strategies that you want to put in place when you are actually growing your business. So I have an investor at the moment. She's a social impact investor. And from a social impact, she actually believes in empowering women. So when we report to her, as much as she's interested in the numbers, she's also interested in how many women's lives that we've been able to impact within the quarter, if that makes sense. So, and because for me as a business owner, social impact is very big and is a very big part of what I actually do, our visions actually align. So it was easy for me to take money off her because I knew that even when I say that, oh, I lost, I've put in, let's say, ₦1 million into doing something for social impact for women, she wouldn't have a problem with that. She wouldn't straight away go like, oh, but that has affected your profit, because that could have been more money that could have gone through your profits. Do you understand? Because our visions actually align. So when you're prioritizing fundraising, it is beyond the money that somebody is giving to you. You have to look at where you are in your business. So for instance, we've had people who say, oh, I'm going to give you this money, but I want an interest of 30% a year. I already know that, okay, throughout this year, because of where we're going, my business cannot even generate more than 40% a year. If you're already asking me for 30% of that, that leaves me with 10%. And I also have to pay salary. So straight away, you put me in a loss-making position. So you're not patient enough, do you understand, for my business to grow. So I'm not going to collect your money. So there's all of those things that you kind of have to think about. So it's a value system. Is this person, are you guys in the same place? So there's some people that will say, okay, you know what? I'm with you for the long run. So it doesn't matter if, because you're in new business, you're loss making for the first 2 years. I don't expect anything. By the time you get to the 3rd year, 4th year, I expect you to actually become profitable or begin to make revenue. Do you understand? So you know that, okay, this person is in it with you for the long run, and this person would be there for you as you change strategy, as you get it right. But straight away, if somebody is telling you that, oh, I'm giving you money to deal, I expect returns in 6 months. Do you understand? And you know that you need more than 6 months to even build that business, to get it off the ground, then you kind of don't get money from that person. For me, I always say to people that patiently get funding, don't be in a hurry. Sometimes I know as a business owner, it is a very difficult place to find yourself when you actually need money, but you need to be also patient and you need to be also careful, because in collecting money very quickly, you can actually find yourself in a lot more problem if you have actually waited to actually get into bed with the right person. So one of the things I always say to people is, if you're going to collect money from somebody, if that person was to be asking to marry you or asking to go out with you, would you necessarily go out with that person, basically? And that's one of the indicators that I kind of use, basically.
Okay, thank you very much, Darapo. I have just one more question to ask the panelists. So if you have any question, please make sure to drop them in the chat section so that we can attend to them after this question. So while Darapo was speaking, she talked about your vision aligning with whatever funding opportunity, wherever you're seeking the funding opportunity from. So from there, I would like to ask that what strategies do you have, would you advise business owners to have to build collaborations with other brands, other organizations and investors? And how do they ensure that this collaboration with other brands and investors are actually mutually beneficial to the both of them? Kemi, would you like to start?
Sure. Okay, so what Olakwa said was spot on, and I would build upon what she said based on the question you've asked. So if you've noticed, I've noticed most times with the founders I've worked with, a founder's personality founder's personalities and beliefs trickles down to the company. She said something, Aqua said something about, being in a rush to get funding, then you end up getting the wrong, being in bed with the wrong partners. And that's because the founders or co-founders personality and what's the word I'm looking for? Personality and maybe behavior, for instance, is that of, okay, you know what? I don't want to, instead of the founder to scrutinize or to be extremely aware of what they want for, which is going to be good for them or their team, they're just after the money. And that is very evident in the founder's value. So that's why it's very important, both as team members or as founders, you need to understand that I'm building this business, I'm building the startups, that a lot of, I'm going to employ people that would believe in me first before they even believe in my vision. Am I a good person? If I'm not a good person, be honest with yourself. If you're not a good person, how can I be better? How can I be good? Because whatever money I get into my business right now is going to affect everything from profits to giving investors their dividends or whatever it is. And so basically, founders need to be more truthful with themselves. If you know you don't care about anybody, then please do not even end up collaborating or hiring people that would end up believing wholeheartedly in your company or in yourself as a founder. So that's my first take on that, to continue where she's coming from. But in terms of collaboration, it's still all about values. Before you collaborate with anybody or before you lie in bed with partners, talking, don't just conclude on conversations. Take them out, vibe with them. Okay, what else? What are this person's beliefs? What are this investors or brand or partnerships? What do they believe in? What do they what's their take on particular issues, on other brands that are basically in going in the wrong direction? Are they in support of it? Are they just saying, oh, you know what, at least they've made money, the others doesn't matter? There's some certain red flags you see by conversing with people, and from there you will know if those sort of people align with who you are as a founder and align with the values of your company. So do not rush. There's power in having conversations. There's power in not just saying, you know what, let's sign this. No, let's take time. Even if it takes 1 day or 2 days to seal the collaboration, say no. I'd rather let it wait for 1 or 2 weeks. Understand the people, because once you sign that document, that can be the end of it. I've worked with founders who have started building betting companies. I'm not going to mention names, but just to give you how values really, really matter before you lie in bed with someone that will end up biting you. This particular person started a betting company with partnership with some Lebanese tech founders, and I kid you not, in 2 years they drove him out of the company, his own company that he started, based on obviously undotted legal works and misaligned values, all because he was in a rush to get funding for his business. To kick it off, they sent him out of the company. He's now a managing director in another betting company, all well and good, but it almost sent him into real clinical depression, because this is what I've built. And that is mostly the case out there when you're in a rush to get something. Everything is not a means to an end. Sometimes you might have to cut your losses and say, you know what, that money, so juicy and painful, but I see so many red flags, and I would not want to subject my team members that believed in me to take this. So always dot the I's, cross the T's, have conversations, take them out of the official zones, dine with them, drink with them, and understand their psyche and know what they believe in, and see if they align with your value as a person and that values of your company. Then you can decide to break bread with them and go into partnerships with them. And I think let me know if that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. Thank you very much, Kemi. Will any of the other panelists have anything to add to what she said?
I think I'll just echo what Kemi said, to be honest. Even when it comes to collaboration, like she said, talking is really important. And I think do not be afraid. I always say to people that do not get intimidated, because I think what happens with a lot of people as well is when they're trying to collaborate, especially if they feel that the other brand is stronger or the other person has an upper hand, do you understand? they tend to want to compromise on their own values. And I think as a business owner, once you made up your mind to start a business, right, you should be able to walk away when you know that it is not going to serve you in the long run, if that makes sense. And there's no such thing as a bigger brand intimidating you, if that makes sense. Like, you don't allow yourself to be taken advantage of. I think it's that whole thing of being able to walk away. I think it is really, really key. And then the other thing I would say is, no matter the collaboration that you're getting into, I'm a big fan of sign a contract so that it is clear what the gives and takes are and what we're looking to. Like, have a contract, have something that details out what the MOU is, and let everybody sign it. Get your legal involved, so that way everybody is clear on what the terms are. And if there's any problem at all, you can always refer back to that contract that has been signed. It doesn't matter if the person that you're collaborating with is your friend. There is no friendship when it comes to business. I'm sorry to say.
No friendship.
There's no friendship. Even co-founders now, they've learned shareholders agreement, co-founders agreement, everything is being put in place. Even husband and wives that go in and co-found a business, they all put in legal documents now just because of a lot of things.
Thank you very much, Dolapo. And with that, we've come to the end of this panel section. I would like to thank our wonderful panelists, Kemi Martins, Dolapo Akinola, Dolapo Sanusiola. Thank you very much for sharing your insights and advice with us. And so now we'll take questions from the audience. Okay, we'll take questions from the audience, and to do that, I'll call on Triumph to ask the questions.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so there are a lot of questions in the chat. So I'll just try my best to read through them quickly. So we have a first question that says, when businesses are raising funds, what legal structures do you think such businesses should have in place? So this person didn't state who they want to direct their questions to, but let me direct my question to Dolapo Akinola. So when businesses are raising funds, what legal structures do you think such businesses should have in place?
Hi. So Dolapo Sanusiola actually tried to, explain something that ties to this question. You need to have your investment agreement in place, right? It is so important. If the investor is coming in as a shareholder, you need to have your shareholders agreement in place. It is very, very important to state what is permissible, what isn't, the amount coming in, dilution provisions, any of those, right to exit, manner in which they can exit the investment. All that is very important. I think documentation is key. And also, if that investment is required to be filed, for instance, with your regulator, or you're required to inform your regulator about that, make sure that you do that. So there are some processes that come in after the investment, even just down to something as simple as getting a CCI, a capital, what's the CCI? I don't know why it has skipped me. But a CCI is essentially a document that is issued by the central bank where investment comes into Nigeria, a foreign exchange comes into Nigeria and is converted into Naira for the purpose of investing, whether it is equity investment or debt investment, right? Certificate of capital importation, yes, it has come. So, it's important, and that's from an investor point of view, it's important to get legal advisors to walk you through what you need to do to get that CCI, because obviously you need to be able to repatriate your funds at divestiture. But as an as a company, right, you also need to know, what, and even the CCI helps you as a company, because what have you agreed with the investor with regards to, if it is a debt investment now, with regard to repayment, right? Are you repaying in Naira? Are you repaying in foreign exchange? What if it's in foreign exchange and it's not something that you got a CCI for, because the CCI wouldn't be applicable where it's like a USD or a foreign exchange investment that is not converted into Naira, right? So it means that if you agree to your obligations being paid in dollars, you're going to be taking on foreign exchange exposures, right? I mean, look at what's happening in Naira today. So you need to agree your interest rates or know how to put provisions in there to adjust to adjust the exchange rates that will be, required or applicable in that, so many things come into play that you as a company, right, or as a founder might not think about. And it's only someone that is experienced in the business that would guide you. So it's very important to ensure that you have all your legal documents in place. Make sure that you get all the CPs that you need, the conditions precedent to funding. Make sure you don't just waive anything. Get all the documents you need from the investors, and then agree what happens afterwards. And if there are regulatory obligations that need to be carried out after the investment comes in, you need to ensure that you do that. For instance, if you're in the finance sector and money comes in, or injection money comes in, you're required to, update the CBN, submit that filing with the CBN. If you don't do that, it has an implication on you. If you don't even submit your increase in, because if it's an equity investment in the company, you need to file your increase, right? Increase in share capital if you increase it to the CAC, at the CAC. So it's something that you need to do, right? Because all this ties up, and a lot of times, I mean, like Kemi mentioned, some people are just, you can be eager to get that money, but take your time and do it right. Take your time and do it right, because those relationships, they last for years, right? And in our case, I've seen instances where it is that initial investor that would open the door for you, subsequent investors. Like when you build, if you have a good relationship with your investors, you'll be surprised the doors that investor can open for you. And there are even like venture capital, like, VC funds and PE funds that will be comfortable investing in you just because you have somebody already in your system, because they know that fund. They know that fund is very thorough with regard to, the compliance of the company. They know the reputation of that fund. So they have that comfort that if this person could invest in you, then so can I. My money is is going to be safe. So just do it right. And if you do it right, you can do it right and then issues might come up. That's why even in your agreements, you need to have dispute resolution provisions, arbitration provisions, mechanisms to resolve disputes, like all of that is very important. But if the money comes in and you are one of those lucky people to have that good relationship with your investor, you can have several rounds of investment and you still have the same investors pumping in new money. So sometimes you might never need new investors because your current one is happy to continue to inject funds into you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very, very, very much for that. So we have another question for Kemi. The person is asking, in the case that one cannot afford physical branding process, okay, I'm coming. What is your suggestion on how to go about an online branding or visibility? Hi, Kemi, did you get that? Kemi, you are speaking, you are muted.
Pardon me, sorry.
That's
yes,
fine.
I was looking at the question right from the source.
Okay.
Just a minute. I think I saw the question somewhere. Oh, sugar. Okay, I've seen it. Okay, so how can you build digital presence if you don't have funds for physical? First of all, I don't even think when you're starting out, I don't even think you should think of physical at all for now, anyways, for the first year. Physical shouldn't be on your mind. Anything physical you're doing is just you as the founder meeting with people that would believe in that you would market or sell your startup idea or business idea to. So that's more physical meetings, not even any events or whatnot. Now for digital is where the magic is. It is extremely important, and you need to go about. I'm going to mention a framework that you can use. You can either DIY yourself, do it yourself, or get maybe brand strategist. Hear me, just to be sure, before I continue.
Yes.
Okay. So the first thing you would do is called the discovery phase. This is where Now we're talking about building your online presence, right? You need to do a lot of research work. Okay, I'm about to start a business or a company or whatever it is in this particular industry. Now, who am I competing with globally? Sorry, who am I competing with locally? Yes, who are the people taking my target market, or rather my target audience presently? Who are the people taking those customers that I really want to retain as customers? You need to highlight them. There might be 10, there might be 20, there might be 30, however it is, have a comprehensive list of them. Now, based on that comprehensive list, you would prioritize them. Okay, these ones, they offer the same services as we do. They offer similar services, or they're our primary competitors. This ones, they don't offer similar services per se, but our target audience also uses them. Those are secondary competitors. Oh, this ones, they don't offer any similar services at all, but their service is like an alternative to what we have. That's like your tertiary competitor. So group them. Now you have a series of brand and business metrics that you would use. Okay, for instance, highlight their product features. What are their product features? What's their pricing? What's their current brand positioning? So these are metrics I'm listing out. What's their online presence like? What's their brand message? What's that pain point they're solving? What's their identity? What's their colors for their brand? What's their slogan, their tagline? Where is their audience basically just in Nigeria, or they're also abroad? So there's a series of metrics that you can use. Put them on the table. See, DIY, these are things I'm giving you tricks that we use in my agency, or rather frameworks, but if you don't have the funds to hire an agency or a strategist, for instance, you need to do the groundwork yourself. Tally your competitors together on the table, use some particular metrics, and look at them. This way you're going to serve as a microscope. You're going to be seeing missing spots in the places that in what your competitors are doing. You finally find out that, oh my God, why are they not concentrating on this particular target audience? Why is everybody in my industry just focused on this age bracket or this demographics? What of these people? So you see, you found one sweet spot. Or, okay, why is everybody going in line with this messaging? Why is everybody all sounding very formal? Why is everybody sounding all very playful? You know what? I want to sound sarcastic. That's another opening. So by studying your competitors, you can see opportunities and ways for areas of differentiation. And that is one of the fastest, sweetest, and most strategic way to find that sweet positioning spot. So that is one framework I've given you. I have if you follow my business, not my business page, my brand page, my community page, something is coming out that would literally help with that. It's a lot of metrics for people to DIY, because I know as a startup, not everybody can afford agency fees, which is fine. So first do your competitive analysis, like I've mentioned, to get your to identify the sweet spot you can position as. That's number one. Number two, define your brand strategy. You need a brand strategy. What does a brand strategy entail? It's like a plan. It's like everything that defines who and what your brand is. Okay, what's our brand story? What inspired us to do what we're doing? What is our impactful mission? What is our impactful vision? What are our values? Like I mentioned earlier. What is our tagline? What is our brand essence? What's that thing that's the heart of our brand? That from that heart we can form other branches. I don't know if you get what I mean. What is our value proposition? What are the benefits of our products? Now, their benefits are divided into like 4. There's functional benefits, there's emotional and psychological benefits. There is social benefits, so you need to define all this. Now I'm giving you all the frameworks I use in my agency. You have to DIY yourself, unfortunately, because differentiating these days is not even by, I've noticed a lot of people focus on the graphics, but guess what? You don't even need to focus on the graphics. Focus on the messaging, the words, and you would see that you would even have more power over people that are spending thousands of naira on brand aesthetics and visuals. So once you're done, so brand strategy, I ended at value proposition, also personality. Who are we as a brand? what do we want to sound like? That's your brand voice and tone. Do we want to sound hip and funky? Do we want to sound informal? Do we want to sound very formal? Do we want to sound sarcastic? That's also a strategy. You know, what should be our positioning strategies? Do we want to focus on thought leadership for our founders? Do we want to focus on writing blogs, you know, like SEO strategies, you know, so that when people search about their pain point online, they are seeing our website? You know, that's a positioning strategy. You know, do we want to focus on socials? Like, okay, you know what, we are giving part of our profit to a particular cause because we understand this cause, you know, and we would like to be associated with it. You get, so these are positioning strategies you can use to cement your brand positioning. And once you're done with that, you should be able to have a comprehensive, it can be short, you know, comprehensive strategy document, which you then use to form your brand communication plan. Based on your brand communication plan, all those things you formed in your strategy, you would then talk about it. You talk about what makes your company different, talk about your brand story, talk about your consumers, talk about your pain point of the consumer. So that's now the brand communication aspect. And once you're done with that, you can then go ahead to design. You know, design what you can based on what you have. You can use tools like Canva. You can hire a graphic designer that you can pay a little token to, you know, per graphics. You can do that and just tell that story online, which is called brand marketing. Now, brand marketing is one area that a lot of people don't use. Brand marketing is different from marketing. Brand marketing is different in the sense that you're literally marketing by using your brand elements, which is your brand stories, your vision, your mission, your positioning strategies, your brand essence, your value propositions. You're using that strategic document to market. That is what brand marketing is. It's not just putting your product out there and say, oh, we have our product as has these features, good this, good that, great this, great that. No, use your brand strategy as a form of marketing. So that's called brand marketing as opposed to marketing alone. So with these tips, trust me, you don't actually need to pump in a lot of funds. Now, I'll give you one advice though. Once you've raised funding, and once you have your money to spare, it is very important to hire the right set of people to give you a structured brand. Because guess what? You can rough it now with 1, 2, 3, 4 team members. But you see, when you are getting to 6, when you're getting to 10, when you're getting to 15, you cannot rough it. There would be brand inconsistencies, which will take away from your brand equity. That thing you've built with your sweat, that content you're creating at night. If you don't put structure into it, it will come back to bite you. So once you have your first funding round, add it to your how you spend your money. Put branding, you know, the usual in your pitch deck when you have, okay, this is how we're going to spend our money. I'll see the whole chunk on marketing. I usually don't say anything on branding. I'm like, people don't actually understand. You can't market without branding. Marketing is born from branding, and that's what people don't understand. People are having chief brand officers now, as opposed to just chief marketing officers, because even chief marketing officers work under chief branding officers, or it can be a chief brand officer with marketing skills, which is always best. And I'm just going to say this last thing before I go. A lot of my clients will come to me and say, Kemi, our content marketing professional or content marketing executive, she doesn't just get it. You know, our own is just to be our own or his own is just to be putting ads out there without telling our stories. Can you see? That's why whoever you are hiring needs to understand what branding is. So that way they're going to be able to combine branding and marketing to give you brand marketing, which is what you should be focused on. See, if you can get brand marketing right, you would be in bed with competitors that have been around for 10 years because they don't know those secrets. They are just doing marketing. They are not doing brand marketing. You can check companies abroad. They do brand marketing. People here haven't really started. And this is just by using your strategy as a document, using your strategy document as a tool in your marketing. And that is what it is. So with that, you should be able to build a good physical presence, a good online presence that you will be able to engage with your consumers, ask them, behave like you're a sort of friend, digital friend to them. What do you need from us? What are we doing right? What are we not doing right? This is your pain point. Tell them, show them their pain points through stories. This is Bola. She goes home every day. She does this, she does that. Without our product, this was the challenges. Now with our product, this is the transformation she's been able to experience. So tell those stories. And before you know it, you don't need to spend a lot of money until you've raised, and then you can then put everything into a brand structure. So the highest form of brand structure is called a brand style guide, a brand book, where everything about your brand is there. How you write, how you speak, your captions, your voice, your values, what it means to you, what it means to your company. So that way, as you're onboarding every staff member, be it remote team, be it contract team, be it permanent team, they are reading your brand Bible. They're reading everything about the brand. So that way they can literally be an advocate of the brand, and they can understand what the brand is fully, as opposed to hearsay, or someone saying this today and another person saying this tomorrow. So that's the highest structure you can have. That is why when you're raising, please add branding and marketing to your what do I call it? to your spending, in terms of money or financial distribution. So I hope I've been able to answer that question.
Thank you very much. You did. You even answered the following questions aside from that questions. So thank you very much for the insights. I think we are past our time for this session today. And we have some more questions, but then, sorry, apologies, we cannot take everybody's question. But the amazing thing is we can also have a follow-up session. So we have your questions noted down, and then we also reach out to you via emails. We can organize another session to have your questions answered. We have fast spent our 2 hours that we planned for today's session, and thank you for staying on the call from 10 a.m. This is past 12. So thank you for your time, and I hope you've gained a lot from today's session. Happy International Women's Day, everybody. And yes, congratulations for being a woman in business. Please connect. Yes, Kemi has dropped our Instagram handle in the comment chat session. Please connect on the chat session, connect with each other, follow each other, ask your questions. And thank you very much to our panelists. Thank you for sparing time. Today is a work day, and we understand that this time is very important to you. So thank you for sparing your time to join us today, and we appreciate you. Thank you very much. Do we have anything from anyone from Okpolo Global, anything to say as a closing remarks finally, so we can end today's session and then we can move on? Okay, yes. So before we go home, let's have like a family picture. So everybody please turn on your camera. Let's have a group picture so we can keep this together. So everybody, attendees, panelists, everybody on the call, just turn on your camera for a minute. So let's have a group picture. So let me close this. So I think the host, when you're ready, just let us know. Host, when you're ready, let us know so you can take the pictures, and then we can know when to turn off our videos. Okay, I see quite a number of us have videos on.
Video on.
Okay. So, host, are you ready for us? I think I heard you speaking just now.
Yeah, we're ready. Just a minute.
All right. Okay.
Right. Done. Thank you.
All right. So thank you, everybody. Thank you very much. So I think we have the pictures, you see them on our Instagram pages and on our Facebook, Twitter, and the likes. Thank you, everybody once again for attending to this session. To have a lovely day ahead and enjoy the rest of your week.
Thank you.
Yeah.